Hello everybody, this is Dr. Carolina Kuepper-Tetzel for the Learning Scientists, and welcome to my office hours. I thought the weather is so beautiful and so nice in Glasgow at the moment that I would take my office hours outside. So I'm here in my garden in Glasgow, and I thought this would be a treat for me, but also for you. So I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, given the extreme circumstances we are in at the moment. So we are still in lockdown here in Glasgow, in Scotland, and all trying to do our best to cope with the situation. One thing that we at the university with my colleagues are discussing a lot at the moment is online teaching, because it looks like that in the first semester in the coming academic year we will be offering remote teaching to our students because of COVID-19. And today I would like to share a little bit of my own experience and my own plans on how to go about the provision of remote teaching and learning for my students. And also to really talk a little bit about that it is important not only to prepare students for this remote teaching experience, but also to prepare members of staff, other lecturers, teachers, and so on for the situation. So what we're discussing, what we're going to do is a combination of asynchronous and synchronous elements when it comes to teaching. It is important to make sure that all students can participate in the learning and all students can contribute to the learning. And so we have to assume that students may not be in the same country when accessing the material or accessing lectures and classes, or even if they are in the same time zone, let's say they are here somewhere in Scotland, let's say, that there may be other personal circumstances that hinder them to log in and participate in a synchronous learning experience. And so it's really important that to think about how many of the elements in teaching and teaching provision can be done asynchronously. So what I'm going to do is for many of my classes, I will provide short introduction videos, something like this, just 3 to 5 minutes videos that I upload for students to watch before they come to class, and to use the actual synchronous class time for activities, for asking questions, answering questions, and so on. That said, it really will depend on the type of different classes that you're giving. So on the one hand, I have lectures that I have to give, and lectures here will be 1-hour lectures, and I think that's really the maximum time for online provision for one class. So it shouldn't be really going beyond 1 hour, because it is much more taxing and for the attention for students, but also for lecturers and teachers to give a 1-hour online class. And so for the lectures, it will basically be offered via Zoom in a synchronous way. So students will log in and attend the lecture live, and the lecture will be delivered live by the teacher. What I find really important here is to make sure that you record the lecture as it happens, and to upload that recording for everyone, for students who may not have been able to attend the synchronous live lecture. To prepare students for the lecture and for the input, I think it is important to have them engage with the material in some form beforehand. You can use questionnaires or any kind of survey tool, something like Microsoft Forms or Google Forms, to have students answer pre-questions before they come to the class. You can use the same forms for them to answer questions during class and after class. So I'm going to use those kind of tools for my teaching. On the other hand, you may have smaller class teaching, such as labs or tutorials, and for those it is really important, like the important element of those are usually that they involve a lot of activities of students, so group work and so on. So we have labs that are part input from the lecturer on, for example, some writing skills, how to write an introduction, how to write a discussion and so on, how to build an argument. But then during the lab, we also do a lot, of course, of group work. So students are asked to get together and to brainstorm and so on. And so the idea now is to split those two components that are usually taught synchronously into asynchronous and a synchronous part. So for the asynchronous part, this will be done in very short videos where we teach students how to build an introduction, how to build an argument, and so on in a short video that they watch prior to coming to the actual lab session. And the actual lab session or practical session will be done again via Zoom, but it will be a shorter session. And the session will be filled by them asking questions and getting answers, by doing those activities, those group activities. For example, in Zoom, you can use breakout rooms. And so to combine those two things in order to give students a holistic experience. I think what will be really important to do, and that's how I'm going to conclude my video, is to inform students and staff before remote teaching even starts what it means to learn and teach remotely. So for students, this means to really explain to them what they should do when they miss a live lecture, for example, to tell them exactly that they need to have slots in their schedule where they're going to watch that lecture, the recording of that lecture, in that specific week, and not to just wait until the very end. The same thing is for the asynchronous parts, to really use some kind of checklist or progress trackers that allow them to tick off when they have done an asynchronous task and or watched an asynchronous video, because this will keep them on track and make them realize basically where they are in the learning timeline, and this is mainly to avoid any kind of cramming. And last but not least, to inform other teachers and lecturers what it means to remote teach, the different tools that they can use, the different things that they can do during a lecture, but how they can prepare for it beforehand. It's really a lot about expectations, so teaching online is very different than teaching face-to-face. All those non-verbal cues that you get from students during a lecture are not available during online lecture, because probably the students will not turn on their cameras, and that means that you're basically talking to yourself without getting any facial cues about, for example, if the concept you have explained is clear to students or not. So you get the occasional nod. In non-online environments, you get the occasional nod or frown, and you can react on that, but this is not available in an online teaching, and staff needs to be prepared to for that. All right, that's from my side. I hope this was helpful. I will be going inside now into my flat and continue working. Thank you very much for listening, and I see you next time. Stay safe and healthy, please.